Hi, my name is Virginia Horton. The first memory I have of Hallie Anderson is middle school basketball. It did not matter what she did on the court or off, she always had a smile on her face. This is still true today. You can always see Hallie with a bright big smile walking down the halls while always being willing to lend a helping hand to whatever you are struggling with that day. She radiates positivity wherever she goes while also being considerate, caring, and kind. She is creative and genuine, and I know she will go on to do great things next year. So, without further ado, our Honor Council President, Hallie Anderson.
When I was 11, my mom bought a used tandem bike, bright red, off Facebook Marketplace. The peculiar purchase was my mother's last-ditch effort to bridge the increasingly growing divide between my brother and me. She always insisted on creative and constructive punishments. Once I hit my brother and he screamed. Instead of timeout, my mother sentenced us to 10 minutes of uninterrupted hand-holding. But even the most creative of consequences could not end our bickering. So, that second-hand bike built for two stood ominously in our hallway. My brother and I oohed and awed as we felt its twin leather seats and inspected the faint trace of rust that had accumulated on its silver handlebars. We were oblivious to the challenge of teamwork this two-seated blessing posed. Connor and I quickly discovered this challenge, however, when we fought that evening. My mom called us into the living room and nodded toward the bike in the hallway. She declared our punishment. Go, ride the tandem bike and don't come back through that door until you can do so peacefully. But she sounded a lot angrier than that. I followed my brother and the bike out to the street where I confidently attempted to mount the front seat, but I was far too short. My toes were inches above the pavement, and Connor observed my failed attempt with his hands placed impatiently on his hips, waiting for me to relinquish my claim to the front. I refused. Only the person in the front could steer, and I craved that power. An argument ensued, but eventually reason won out over my stubbornness. Defeated, I mounted the back seat, and Connor took the front. Seconds after confirming our seating positions, we began to argue yet again. This time it was over my refusal to pedal. Out of spite for my brother, who now held the highest honor of steering, I refused to help him get anywhere. I argued to my brother's back as he sat quietly in the front. I didn't notice his tears until he dismounted the bike and made for the door. I pleaded with Connor to return, knowing we'd both face my mother's wrath if we walked through the door teary-eyed, having not ridden the bike at all. Connor's ego is not easily bruised, so thankfully he returned. I pedaled this time. We both pedaled. We were halfway around the block when I squeaked out an "I'm sorry." Instead of accepting my apology, as he always did, Connor asked why we had to fight all the time. I didn't have an answer for him. We soon walked through the front door, bike in tow, still without an answer to Connor's question. We did not bond on the bike ride, nor did we resolve all of our problems. But we came home in tandem, and that was all my mother had asked of us. I am now far too tall for the bike. Stuffing peeks through the tears in its leather seats, and its handlebars are coated in rust. Connor and I don't need the tandem bike anymore, though, because we live its lessons daily. I don't spend hours with my brother. In fact, we're lucky if we talk more than one time in a week now that he's in college. But we do exist in the same world and in the same family peacefully, in tandem. I'm not going to mislead you. Confrontation is no magic wand. It won't immediately solve all of your greatest conflicts. I know it hasn't always fixed mine. But a Band-Aid on a bullet wound is better than nothing at all. So, take a ride with that person, the one whom, whether out of shame or circumstance, you choose to avoid, the one with whom you actively refuse to make eye contact. When your first instinct is to leave the room when they walk in, you know it's time for the tandem bike. We will all leave here eventually. Are you comfortable leaving this place having never confronted the miscommunications, the conflicts, the broken friendships? Don't wait 2 months, 1 year, or 2 years to get on the tandem bike. Now is as good a time as any. You don't need to love everyone, but you should be able to look everyone in the eyes. You should be able to coexist in tandem. After all, it does not always take teamwork to make the wheels turn, but it does, at the very least, take some peaceful pedaling. Everyone has to give just a little bit on the bike. If you won't take my word for it, at least take my mom's. Go, ride the tandem bike, and don't come back through that door until you can do so peacefully. Thank you.